We can perceive the experience, but not the experiencer. Peace to you and you and you and all my fellow expressions of consciousness. It is said by many a spiritual teacher, guru, tradition, that wearing your hair in a particular way will help to raise your connection to the source, the pure consciousness, God, or whichever word you wish to label that which is the so-called creator of all. To say that so-called Jattas or dreadlocks, whatever name you wish to give the particular hairstyle, can help raise your consciousness. This is to say, to believe that consciousness is also an object. To raise something is to manipulate that. To manipulate consciousness would mean consciousness is tangible in some way. Who has ever looked, perceived something in the perceived world and said that is consciousness? In other words, who has ever found consciousness as a separate substance, entity? Of course, no one. Science failed to find it. A spiritual person, guru, could not point to it. Because it is not an it. So to believe that you can manipulate consciousness is a belief that you have been taught that is detrimental to your understanding of what you actually are. For you already are conscious. You are aware of hair. Thus, consciousness is aware of hair. Hair is then within consciousness. It's within your experience. You are conscious. You are consciousness. Thus, hair is within that which you are. So how can hair, that is only existing through you being consciousness, affect you when it is after you? Meaning you are consciousness first. You're not a hairstyle first. All objects, whether the body, including hair, or a train, are objects that are known. To know something is to be conscious of that. You'd have to be consciousness to be conscious of something. So a thing cannot raise that which you are, because that which you are is no thing. It's just that which is aware. Just as you cannot find mind, you just know thoughts exist. To say that wearing your hair in a certain way will help your brain will help the mind, and that is connecting the brain with mind. Again, this is not going to help your deepening into the understanding of what you are, because as I've said in my previous video of the brain does not create consciousness, the brain is again within consciousness, thus can't affect it. Just as you cannot affect the top of your house from inside it. You cannot leave finger marks, let's say, on top of your house without your arm going to the top of your house. It's outside. Only then could you manipulate the top of your house. The brain is just a sensation that is within consciousness. Hair, Jattas. It's just what do you know of it? You know, feeling. You might say energy. Energy is also perceived. Energy is known. So even energy is not saying you are more connected to the divine. Because energy is also perceived. It's a concept. There is no energy actually. It's a concept. There were just things happening. This is always said with love and just to help those who have had the thought that, could it really be true? Wearing my hair long is going to help me reach the divine, raise these apparent existing chakras which do not exist, on that which you essentially are. I say this as somebody with so-called dreadlocks. Upon awakening, you realize that nothing you ever did led to your awakening. In other words, led to you reaching the divine, realizing the truth of reality. Realizing that God is not something to attain. Realizing that God is all there is. And it's not an entity. You see, that which we call God or pure consciousness or pure awareness has simply many forms of itself that we call people, that are living particular stories to find the truth of what they are. The stories differ. Some stories are through trials and tribulations. Some stories are meditating as a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, and becoming enlightened for the rest of their life. There are many different stories to reaching the absolute. The only way to reach the absolute, the only way to have a self-realization experience, the only way to realize the truth of all, the only way to realize what enlightenment actually is, the only way to achieve nirvana enlightenment, the only way is to seemingly experience the forgetting that you are already that. For if you did not have the experience of seemingly forgetting that you are already God consciousness, you would just be God consciousness, not needing to experience that you are it, because you just would be it. There would be no contrast, just it. There is just it, but that which you are, which is that which I am, is so-called intelligent, it can seemingly forget what it naturally is. Just as you could be daydreaming and seemingly forget that you are standing on one leg. It's that shift of perception. No, Jattas cannot raise consciousness, for consciousness is not a thing that can be manipulated in any way, shape or form, for it is no shape or form. Emptiness is form. Form is emptiness. You may have heard this in Buddhist teachings. I'm here to tell you that I've seen this, so to speak, seen, and it's completely true. That which you perceive as form is formless. Just as the dream seems to be filled with forms, you seem to be in a 3D world, then wake up and realize there's no forms. Where's the form when you wake up? It's the same in the apparent waking state. The hair is also formless. It just seems to be within a form. It is simply mind, aka ego, doing its best to try and understand how it can remember what it naturally is. So it's fine. It's totally fine to play around with it. But if you are seeking a deeper truth, if you are stressing over not having enough hair, for example, to make Jattas, or should I not, you do not need to at all to awaken. Because as I've explained before, we all live in different stories to remember that which we are. Some are living a story of my hair needs to be long and in such a way. Some are living a story of I need to be by myself in a cave. Some are living a story of spirituality is complete BS. Some are living the story of I am an atheist. Prove to me God. No matter which story one is following, they will they can only reach the truth of their nature, their natural state, their natural being that is no state. Whether through life or within apparent death. Because of course consciousness cannot die, for it is no thing to even live or die. It just is. How do you know you didn't die when you slept last night and you've woken up in a new body, a new world? How would you know? How do you know that this body you are in right now, or seemingly in, is different to that which you went to bed with? You couldn't know, because all you know is now. A thought of, oh no, it was definitely me last night, it's still a thought happening now. So actually you are being reborn constantly. For that which is experiencing life is that which we call I. The doer I. The I that believes it's a doer. It's moving its hands. It's talking. That I. Not realizing all actions, so to speak, are being perceived in truth. They are known. There is not a doing. There's just knowing that they are happening. Just as you cannot predict or say the next thought you're going to have until you have it. So how can you even say you are the mind? You cannot stop mind. If we have to be sincere and aware, it just shows us we are not mind. We observe mind and its games and its stories. So yes, you already are God, just playing around with your hair. Which is fine, but it's not necessary and cannot affect God, or if you want to call it consciousness, because it is that which is created by the all, which is no thing, which is formless. How can you manipulate formlessness? If you like the video, please like the video. Have a wonderful day or evening. Peace to you.